Childhood, adolescence, and early adult life are the three stages we see in Chiron's life as he struggles to understand his own identity in the 2016 drama Moonlight. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and this is Filmgazm. Welcome back. We're continuing our top 10 films of the 2010s project with Adam's number 6, my number 3, Moonlight, written and directed by Barry Jenkins, the master himself. Obviously, Adam and I both love this movie as it makes our list. Connor, I know you have an adoration for it as well. Maybe not as deep, but you do have a mad respect for it.
I do. It's a beautiful film, a very unique vision, and I appreciate a unique vision very much. It's a good movie. I've seen it 3 times now, and it's just not a film I go back to for comfort or entertainment, but I recognize that it is a really good movie.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I think that's probably most people's relationship with it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, every time I watch it, it's rewarding because it's so, like you said, it's such a unique, kind of vision from Barry, and obviously all the performances are fucking lights out. So on that front, it's easy to watch every now and again. But I definitely feel there's like a gravity about it that like pulls me back every time, and I've seen it. I don't even know. It's become a rewatchable for me, and it's one of those weird, like, why do I rewatch it over and over? I think it's because of the style of it. I feel like I'm learning a lot about the art of filmmaking, and right from the get-go, it kind of does. There's certain things that Jenkins is doing with the camera that I really respect, and I see, especially now, years later, I see kind of his influences on his sleeve. You're like, oh wow, okay, I see. He's clearly very into French movies, very into Alfonso Cuarón's filmography. You can see a lot of his movies in Moonlight, and I love that about it. So it's kind of like I'm studying when I watch it. It's like a therapeutic. I'm studying and I'm learning, and I love all that stuff, and I love the cast. But Adam, why is this your number 6? Why did it make your top 10?
I think a little bit of everything you guys just touched on is I don't necessarily think I would call it a rewatchable, like oh, I return to it all the time. Because it is like pretty heavy. It's pretty, it's pretty intense. Yeah. It's definitely one that when I saw, it's around that time that I was like really kind of getting more into this stuff. I think Austin, you were too. And like anticipating movies and like, oh, this director's attached to this, and so therefore this, and you're kind of learning all that stuff and like looking forward to it. And then it lived up to the hype. It was like, oh, that was actually just as good as I was hoping it would be. And then give it a couple of years, you return to it, and it's like, oh, something hit me even harder this time. And then maybe the third time you watch it, something hits you harder. And I think this is the 4th time I saw it, when I watched it last night and this morning, and it like hits you again, like another thing hits you and another piece of it hits you. And obviously, yeah, it's not like a subject matter that you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna throw this on a Friday night, it's not like that. It's not like Happy Gilmore, like where it's just like this kind of passive, like secondary watch. But I think it's absolutely beautifully shot. Music is great. All the performances at the different stages of Chiron's life are really good. Obviously, there's some that there's a through line between a couple of them. But I think it's one of those, like, we have that debate about best versus favorite, all the time. And I think for my list, I tried to go a little more kind of best rather than just favorite. So there are movies of the 2010s that I've watched more than this one. But this is right up there with one of the kind of like both best and favorite of the decade. And so yeah, that's why I made the list at number 6.
Yeah, I hear that. I definitely think it's one of the kind of quintessential 2010s movies, like must watch type things. Whereas so many movies are just kind of like, for a specific audience or whatever. I feel like this is one of those where sit back, enjoy the show, but also buckle up. It's a fucking ride. Yeah. Everything you said, I totally agree with too. I think obviously, putting this at my number 3 and like I considered putting it 1, considered putting 2. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is a rewatchable for me, even though it's not a rewatchable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a rewatchable. Like, it is not like super easy. Yeah, like you said, throw it on Friday night, just have some fun with the boys. But I find it to be so rewarding how many times I've seen it. Like, I at this point, I feel like I know it like the back of my hand. and it just gets better and better. Last night was one of my favorite viewings I've ever had of it, which was pretty special.
So on that point, actually, I wonder, Connor, if there's a movie you can come to mind for you, because I have one of that's like, this is a rewatchable for me, but I understand why it wouldn't be for like anyone else. Do you have a movie like that?
I think the 2002's The Count of Monte Cristo has
Okay.
that.
That perfect example.
Yeah.
It was a successful movie, kind of modest, never really escaped 2002, based on a novel that a lot of people just didn't want to read in high school or college. Not, and I've always just loved it as a character study. And to me, it's, 2.5 hours of excitement and tension and brilliant revenge. But, to a lot of people, that's, intimidating and kind of boring. And, I can kind of get that. But to me, it's just something I get lost in. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of those. I prioritize favorite over best when it comes to lists like this, because film's very subjective. It's all about, I care more about what I think than opposed to like what, New York Times top 10 list thinks.
Yeah.
A lot of times those lists are going to go hand in hand, but not always.
Not always. Yeah. I felt the same way. I kind of basically did it like, okay, I have these like 6 or 7 or 8 like 5-star movies. I'm going to include all of those from the decade. And then the last year would be more kind of like, of all my kind of 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, I'll choose like my favorite of those 3. That's kind of like how I like. So I almost kind of split the difference on that. Now among those 5 stars are some of my favorites. Like my number 1 is like also like my favorite. But I also think it's like my favorite and kind of the best. It's like rare that actually happens. But yeah, so I kind of split the difference in terms of like favorite, because yeah, I don't know if it was just straight up just favorite of the decade if Moonlight would make it for me. Like, does that make sense? Like, but I do think it's like one of the best of the decade. So that's kind of where I like landed. But for me, that movie is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I love that movie so much. I love the book a lot. So I'm like,
yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. So I just like, I can return to that all the time. I love that kind of Cold War, like that, like era of movies, the kind of like 60s to 80s, like semi-political thriller. I've been like looking for more and more of those like lately. I love that genre. And so that one, like it kind of hit me at the right time, and I read the book at the right time. So that one for me, like I'll watch that like once every, 18 months or something. But it's like, I get why like people would see that one time, like, okay, that's enough for me, but I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I just bought that book today. Weirdly.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. It's really, really good.
Cool.
Random stars aligning. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. Like I've watched Magnolia. I mean, it's a 3-hour just pulverizing movie, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like that is like Saturday night. Let's fucking go. Like that's a special night. Let's get it. I run towards those like uncomfortable, just movies that are gonna make you fucking squirm. Like that is comfort to me. It's like stuff that makes me not do the secondary watch. Stuff that makes me put my phone down, fucking lock in, and like, all right, I want to do that as many times as I can, and the whole best and favorite thing, I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm glad you guys have both kind of spoke on it. I've been thinking about that a ton lately, and I was talking to Brianna about it not too long ago, because we watched a video of Tyler the Creator, the rapper. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you think is like who the 5 best rappers are. He's like, like everybody says like Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z. He's like, who do you like? Who's your favorite? Who do you listen to when you go to work in the morning? Like who do you really, really care about? And he's like those lists are like best, like all these are like the essentials or whatever is cool. It's like fun to look at. I love looking at stuff like that. And I know like Adam and I are, because of sports, we kind of like, that's how our mind works.
Yeah.
Because sports is always about, well, this guy's better than that guy, because there's tangible evidence.
Yeah, there's a measurable thing we could use. Yeah.
Whereas like Moonlight and Social Network, there's no way to say this is better than that.
Right.
But there is a very easy way to say I like this one better. Like I like Moonlight slightly better than Social Network, but I've seen them both probably like 30 or 40 times, and I have a great time. They're both 5 stars. I love them both. I'll go to bat for them any day of the week. I don't know if there's a way for me to decipher which one's better, but I think for my just enjoyment, what I've learned, Moonlight's just slightly ahead, which is why I have it 3 and Social Network 4.
Yeah, no, I think I'm a victim of that sometimes. Like I apply like, I mean, because it's my day to day, like the kind of sports world mentality of the kind of like the measurable and like the ranking, like to art sometimes. And I don't like that. I don't like that I do that. I mean, I think there's times where it helps organize your mind and like, you know, kind of the, you know, I think we all have like the letterbox, you know, like brain sometimes, but I probably do that too often. I think I probably let that color, like that mentality color kind of how I feel about things. And it's like, oh, well, like these really esteemed people that I usually agree with, like critically, like really like this thing. So like, I will like it too, you know? I don't love that about myself. But it's, you know, but it helps me like, yeah, kind of like sort through like what I should or shouldn't watch. I don't know. It gives me like some sort of like filter system, if that makes sense.
Of course, like context, filter, all that. It is yeah. I think there's like value to that, especially now because there's so much shit to watch. So you do want to have some sort of reference of like, I'm not just throwing some bullshit on. I'm like watching with intent. Now, speaking to specifically to you, Adam, is like that's because you watch a lot of other stuff. Like you also watch a lot of sports, you watch a lot of other like TV shows. So when you watch a movie, you want to watch a movie, like a proper movie, you know. And like I obviously I'm kind of in the middle because I also watch sports, not as much as you, but I'm kind of my hands kind of in a lot of different things. And Connor's on the other side of the spectrum where he's like, movies are my thing.
Yeah.
And so he's able to. I know, Connor, you've been doing this a lot lately, especially since reading cinema speculation, where you just kind of you're like trying to allow yourself to treat each movie the same, where you're like, all right, even if this is Happy Gilmore, I'm gonna fucking sit back, put the phone away, you know, eliminate distractions, and like really, really watch this thing as like a piece of art. That's difficult, but it's like I think it's really valiant. So I respect you for kind of going down that path.
Well, here's the thing. So many of my favorite movies are critically reviled. Like Mars Attacks, Hook. Like I love these movies. Critics fucking hated those movies. They were annihilated. And if I just went by, oh, critics didn't like that, I would never watch those and then adopt them into my life as favorites. So I think everything that I haven't seen has potential favorite movie value. That's the way I see it. If I haven't seen it yet, I can't judge shit. So the watch is all it takes for me to decide, do I like this? Do I not like this? And that is all I care about.
Yeah. That's a more pure way of going about it. Yeah. And I should be clear. I don't, this is like, I don't feel like I let it color, like, again, how I feel. I mean, maybe sometimes every once in a while, how I feel about it afterwards, but I need it more for like I should or shouldn't watch this rather than like, oh, the critics like this, therefore I also like this. Like probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, because of the finite time, it's like, oh man, like, am I going to dedicate 2.5 hours to this? Like I have so many other things I do like to watch or that I could watch or that I like should watch for my job. But I like I want to watch this movie. So I need that kind of filter system, which is why this project has been so cool because like for the most part, it's stuff I like already, you know, and it's like, oh, I'll return to that. Like I'll give Moonlight 2 hours today. Cause it's like, I love that movie, you know, like I know for a fact, like I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to get something, you know, really unique out of it, you know, on this like third watch or whatever it may be. I wish I was better at just kind of like just randomly like just scrolling through something. I'll just pick this and just like sit back and watch this. Like I just I don't know. It's hard for me to do that.
Well, there's also like there's a tremendous downside to that. You know, I watch a lot of shit because I give everything the time of day, and sometimes the critics are spot on. Sometimes I waste 2 hours and watch absolute nonsense that's just going to irritate me, and I will never think about again. But sometimes it's also like some late 70s gem that I never heard of before that turns out to be just something incredible that I want to tell everybody about. But it is also like that is all I do. You know, I don't have sports or I watch some TV, but really film is my thing. It's my gem.
Right.
So I'm more willing to give a lot of crazy shit a chance. And I understand that like if you just want every watch to be worth your time, I definitely understand looking into like critical
like a filter system
successes. You need a filtration system,
or like you guys are the filter system sometimes. Like, oh yeah, you'll enjoy this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like people I know and trust, like they'll give me, you know, recommendations too. But tremendous downside, it should be like the subtitle name of like a podcast or something. That's
a great tremendous
idea. Downside.
Tremendous downside.
It's like a guy like falling off stairs. Yeah, like it's not always good. I didn't expect this to happen. You know, like I don't have an opening question. I don't have a lot of like production history for Moonlight. I have a project I want to do with you guys. So I'm glad we kind of just started talking about that kind of stuff. That was cool. I think that's kind of a conversation that's always beneath the surface for people like us because we're just so into our habits, it's like our watching habits and why we do it, why we appreciate it. And we're Adam, to speak to like again, kind of tack on to what you said about this list that we've been doing. It allows you to really like find out more about yourself. Like it's kind of therapeutic where you pick all these movies that you love, you know you're going to have a good time watching them, but until you hit record and you start talking about it, you don't really know where it's going to go. You don't know like what's going to come out of you. You know, you watch the movie, you're like, oh, I want to talk about that part. Oh, Mahershala Ali is so good. Oh man, Naomi Harris, you know. But then like you start talking and you end up talking about like your watching habits and what you value and like what your system is for watching movies. So I think it's really cool, and I think it's helpful for people, for listeners to hear different takes on, you know, like all three of us are different the way we watch stuff. Connor's definitely up here, you know, super high when it comes to movies, and I'm somewhere in the middle, and Adam's right below us. But we all have like a equal respect for this form, this art form, and when it clicks, it fucking clicks for all of us. And so doing these movies, it obviously clicks, and Moonlight happens to be on both of our lists, so I love that. So for the project, one of my favorite things about Moonlight, I love so many things, and we'll get into them when we'll do categories for it later. But one of the best things to me, and kind of something that I came out of it when I first saw it, I came out of it like, oh, Mahershala Ali is cool. You know, like, it's a cool motherfucker. You know, I already knew who he was. I had an idea of like, you know, like how talented he was, but something like really, really happened inside of me when I watched his character won in the movie. Won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, and I was like rooting for him so hard. It was the hardest I've ever like rooted for a person at the Oscars to like for a performance category. And I was just so stunned and so moved by kind of the subtlety of his performance, but also the presence, you know, like the way he dresses, the way he smokes a cigarette, the way he talks to Little, everything about him in this movie just kind of like rattles me. And so I kind of wanted to run with that. And because I know you guys are both big supporting actor like nerds like I am, it's one of maybe the coolest category to like look at. I wanted to kind of do a project with the best supporting actor winners from the 21st century. Yeah. So I was going to do 2010s, but I was like, no, let's expand a little bit. Let's get some more people in here. You know, let's get the Benicio del Toros. You know, like let's get those guys, the George Clooney's. Let's get them in the mix. So my idea was to do a draft with the winners, and the idea is there's 5 spots you have to fill, 5 different like little jobs, and these jobs are, of course, for a heist team. Okay. We have the team leader / mastermind. Think Ben Affleck, The Town, right? You know, he's like the guy who really gets things moving. You have the crowd control / brute. You got the guy who fucking screams at people. You know, when you're doing the heist, you're doing the robbery. He's the guy who's like, hey, I'll fucking knock your head off. You know, if things don't go correctly while you're doing stuff. You got the safe cracker. Like he's the specialty guy who goes in and actually goes to the vault, steals the money, right? You have the driver, of course. Got to have a guy who can drive different vehicles, get you around, get you out of, different jams. And then you have the kind of, I call him the hacker, kind of like the technology guy. Maybe he's sitting in the van doing stuff on his computer, think Belushi in a Thief, Michael Mann's Thief from 1981. Like the guy who just kind of like knows how to get through different alarm systems and do different stuff. So 5 people. The people we're going to be selecting are, of course, Best Supporting Actor winners from this 21st century. And you're trying to fill each job. Okay.
Okay. One more time with the categories. One more time.
Team leader / mastermind.
Okay.
Crowd control, safe cracker, driver, and hacker.
Okay.
Question.
So yes. Yeah. Let's hear what you guys, if you guys understand or what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Are we drafting these actors or these characters?
Yeah. Actors. Oh, no, actors. Okay. Because I mean, there's no way to. I mean, you could, but like, like, of course, like it'd be a lot cool to have fucking Heath Ledger as the Joker in a heist movie over, Jim Broadbent and Iris. It's a little different. No, it's about that actor, but at that time. Okay. So you don't get Heath Ledger, obviously now because he's not with us anymore. But you also don't get him 1999. You get him 2007, 2008. That era of Heath Ledger. If you pick,
I don't know. The character thing is actually really interesting. The more I think about it, I'm like, looking at these, I'm like, man, some of these characters would be hilarious as
it's going to be really hard to disassociate.
Yes, that's maybe what I'm more bumping.
okay, well, that's okay. That's what I was thinking. Is you're not really disassociating. You're not saying, oh, this is the the grandpa from Little Miss Sunshine, Alan Arkin, but you're like, it kind of is.
But like, there's some that like Christoph Waltz is like nowhere near Hans Landa in real life. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
movie.
Yeah, but
obviously, yeah.
my main goal is to make sure, like, if you're picking Morgan Freeman from $1 Million Baby, you're picking 2003, 2004 Morgan Freeman, not now. That's 20 years ago. So you're picking a much different person, a much different type of actor, who was capable of a lot of things at that time. He's much older now and is a little bit different. So that was kind of my thinking. I mean, of course you can associate, like, it is Joker and Hans Landa and Anton Chigurh on the same team.
Full disclosure, that is entirely how I intend to approach this. Just
fair enough. Also, there is a big rule. Mahershala Ali and Christoph Waltz are both 2-time winners. You can only pick them once.
Okay.
So once Mahershala Ali is off the table, he's off the table. Once Christoph Waltz is off the table, he's off the table. We can't. Connor and I can't both have Christoph Waltz. So choose accordingly.
All right.
It's only winners. I'm gonna rattle through them real quick just for the listeners so they know kind of like what our general pool is. We have Benicio del Toro from Traffic 2000. We have Jim Broadbent from Iris 2001. Chris Cooper from Adaptation 2002, underrated performance. Tim Robbins from Mystic River 2003. Morgan Freeman from $1 Million Baby 2004. George Clooney, Syriana 2005. Alan Arkin, Little Miss Sunshine 2006. Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men 2007. Oh man, that's a good one. Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight 2008. Christoph Waltz, Bastards 2009. Christian Bale, The Fighter 2010. Christopher Plummer, rest in peace, Beginners 2011. Christoph Waltz again, Django Unchained 2012. Jared Leto, Dallas Buyers Club 2013. That would be an odd one. J.K. Simmons, Whiplash 2014. Mark Rylance, Bridge of Spies 2015. Mahershala Ali, Moonlight 2016. Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri 2017. Mahershala Ali, Green Book 2018. Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019. Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah 2020. 2021, Troy Kotzer, Coda. And last year, Ke Huy Quan, of course, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So great list of dudes. There's plenty to choose from for all of us. We're all going to have 5 each. We're doing a snake draft. I did a randomizer just a little while ago. Connor, you have the first pick. I have second. Adam third on the turn. Connor, if you have any more questions, hit me with them. If not, you're on the clock.
Okay. This is interesting. I've never done anything like this before. Okay. I want J.K. Simmons as my safecracker.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Whiplash. Yeah. Like J.K. Simmons, in my opinion, from what I've seen, the strongest, like most impactful Best Supporting Actor win of all time. Whiplash, incredible stuff.
Yeah, I can just see him. I mean, we kind of did see it in The Lady Killers.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. See, you're not just thinking about him in Whiplash. You're thinking about what has he been capable of?
Yeah.
He's
one of those versatile as hell film actors who can pretty much do anything. And his turn as Fletcher in Whiplash cemented his place in film history. Pretty much, we're going to be talking about that in a few weeks. But yeah, I love seeing him as something about tempo and the safecracker. Like, it just made sense to me.
Yeah, I love that. So he's your safecracker. He's the guy who's like going in the vault and he's like, everybody shut the fuck up. I'm trying to focus. He's doing all that dirty work. I love it. So that's a great pick. Nothing wrong with that. J.K. Simmons, yeah, he's a character actor at heart and could totally do any of these jobs, I think. So that's a really good pick. Oh man, second pick is always hard because you're like, where's Adam going to go with his back-to-back? I think I want to take my crowd control guy first here. And I love him in Judas and the Black Messiah, but I'm really taking his energy from Widows. That's Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Kaluuya, crowd control, just the way he just stares at people is going to make him shut the hell up. So I'll take him. Yeah, he won for Judas and the Black Messiah. Probably should have been up for Best Actor. I don't know. Him and Lakeith kind of like split time, I guess, in that movie, and they were both up for supporting. It was kind of one of those weird ones, but he did win. He has a statue, and that's wonderful. I anticipate he'll be up for like another 5 nominations before he's done. The guy is a total freak, so I feel very good about him being on my team.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. I'm like Connor. I cannot separate the role from, especially with this guy in this particular role. Give me Javier Bardem for No Country for Old Men. Let's figure out which one.
Ooh, tough.
Let's go Safecracker, because he'll literally probably just shoot a lock, something straight through the lock, and
that air gun just
air gun, that's all I need for Safecracker. I don't want him driving necessarily. I don't want him behind the computer. He's not a hacker. He needs to be in the action.
Oh no. Yeah.
But I also don't want him as a team leader, because he's just a total wild card. So that's not going to happen either. We need him as just like kind of like the hired gun to just kind of come in and do this. Okay, my team. Actually, as I'm scrolling, I'm like, do I want to? Because I'm not going to pick again for a minute. So there's only a couple people in here that I just like straight up don't want. Like I'm like, I'm good. If I get,
yeah, I know it's a lot of cool dudes. Yeah.
Screw it. Yeah, give me a Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, both y'all are going to take him at some point in this. And give me him as the driver.
I like that. Exactly. Old man Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great call. I like that. Brad Pitt, like 60-year-old Brad Pitt, just hanging out, driving nice cars, getting out of jams, making people laugh. Yeah.
Yep. No, he'll be a good chemistry guy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Him and Bardem. He could be like, "Hey, man, let's fucking chill out." Yeah. No, nothing wrong with that. That's a good pick. Okay. Well, then I have to take my guy Mahershala Ali. I'm gonna go team leader with Mahershala Ali.
Okay.
He's a 2-time winner, one of the only guys to ever do that. Did it, with Green Book and Moonlight. He's just, I don't know how you couldn't like this guy. He's a total gem, and I'm glad to have him on my team. I think as a team leader, he could be, there could be some storyline where Ali and Kaluuya kind of have like a chemistry, but they also kind of hate each other, kind of like Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck in The Town. They're kind of like, we're brothers, but like, fuck you, you're a dickhead. I love to picture Kaluuya screaming at Mahershala Ali like, "You grew up right here, same rules as I did."
Yes.
Kaluuya with a British accent, with his proper British accent. So that's I got to go Ali. I don't think Connor was going to take him, but I just have to make sure he's on my team. Connor, you have 2 in a row.
Interesting. Okay. I want Benicio del Toro as my team leader.
Damn it.
That's good.
That guy commands a screen like few others. And I think he could command a team of elite actor, safe, heist bank robbers. I'm picturing there's this character in Traffic, but also I'm thinking, Snatch and The Usual Suspects and his random weirdo kind of mumbler roles he has. But then when push comes to shove, fucking Sicario, he comes out, he's ready to blast. Yeah. Alejandro's here to fucking succeed and pull this off. Okay. All right. Crowd control. I want Sam Rockwell.
Ooh, I like that.
Because
wild card.
As we've seen with films like Seven Psychopaths, he can turn on a dime and fucking scare people if need be. So I trust him to handle a situation, especially if
3 Billboards. He throws Caleb Landry Jones out the fucking window like it's nothing.
Yeah. After making us hate him the whole movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're on his side. How did you do that, Sam? Yeah, that's a great pick. I like that. He's kind of a wild card, but also very good at playing off of people.
So you can kind of like let Sam, JK, and Benicio are all like great supporting, but also can take the lead when they need to. So some good picks. Um, Sam Rockwell, what is he doing? Like, I feel like lately, I feel like that era, like 17, 18, like when he was in Vice as Bush, and I feel like we were like, oh man, it's about to be like a Sam Rockwell, fiesta. And I feel like kind of started not doing as much. I don't know. Is that just me?
I can't recall. I'm looking him up right now. What has he done in the past like 2 years? There was Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
2019. Yeah. Yeah.
Last year, what was that? See how they run or whatever.
Oh, that movie sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't
Yikes.
He was in The Bad Guys. Richard Jewell. Fosse Verdon. He's been around. I think
he's amazing in Fosse Verdon. I watched that. He's awesome in that.
Nice. Yeah, he's just been, maybe relaxing after playing fucking, racist cop and George W. Bush.
I like that. Yeah. Racist George W. Bush.
Real quick, remind me who all y'all have taken real quick so I can add it to my little list right here. So Herschel, Kaluuya. Yeah, who else?
Connor has Del Toro, Rockwell, and Simmons.
And Austin, you have who again?
Ali and Kaluuya.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all right, cool.
And it's my pick again. I'm having a hard time here.
I know. You're gonna take the one I want. I know it.
I don't know. I don't think I am. Jesus. I think.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
This is gonna be my driver. I want to get my driver.
Okay. I think I'm safe.
Damn. Sorry. Fuck. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go with like reasoning. I'm gonna go Christian Bale as my driver.
Okay.
I want him to also keep his British accent, so him and Daniel Kaluuya can have a bit of banter. I obviously I'm looking forward past the fighter to Ford versus Ferrari. I'm thinking about what he's capable of. He pulls off a driver really well with the British accent. I got to go Bale.
Do you get emaciated, unhealthy Christian Bale, buff Batman Christian Bale, or fat American Hustle Christian Bale?
I mean, I guess I get 2010 cracked out Christian Bale. I don't know. I'm the squirrely one, That's I guess it's who I get, but I'm definitely thinking about like skinny Bale behind the wheel and like being kind of quiet until he needs to pop off. When someone's like, "Hey man, like you ran past that red light," then he just fucking pops off on everyone. I can see Bale like kind of being his own team leader in a way, while also being the driver, being like, I'm in charge of the show, but also being, I just feel like Bale can do anything. So I want him on my team. I passed up Heath Ledger. Sorry, I feel like he's somehow still on the board. Adam, go ahead.
He might remain on the board. For my team leader, this one's easy. Give me George Clooney.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Danny Ocean himself. Yeah, Danny Ocean himself. He won for Syriana, but I'm kind of applying the Danny Ocean.
Yeah. Well, this is early 2000s George Clooney. So yeah,
I could do that. So okay, so I have Crowd Control and Hacker left. I'm kind of torn on a couple of those. I don't. Yeah, I mean Heath is like he's just staring at me in the face. But give me. Oh wow. Let me scroll one more time and make sure I'm not forgetting anybody obvious. Give me Christoph Waltz as my hacker.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Interesting.
He's been around the block. He's done his own shit. Now he's like, let me step back. I'm going to take less exposure. I'm going to be the hacker. I'm going to take a step back. I love that.
Yep. So that is So I've got 4 of my 5 so far.
And Christoph Waltz obviously wins for the 2 Tarantino movies, Bastards and Django. We will be doing a Django episode in a couple weeks. Great team. Clooney, Bardem, Pitt, and Waltz. Jesus H. Okay, well, yeah, fuck. I got to take Heath Ledger. I'll put him as my safecracker or hacker. Heath obviously liked to challenge himself a lot. like to do many things in his short time here with us. I'm gonna put him as safecracker. Heath Ledger's in on the action. You know, we're thinking this is a 26, 27-year-old Heath Ledger before he passed away. Really showed in those last couple of years that he could just do anything. From I think the two most impressive kind of like double feature would be Brokeback Mountain and Dark Knight. Of like, I mean, what more do you want from an actor?
Yeah, God, the amount of potential in that man, so sad.
Yeah, it really is. It sucks. It's so cool that he won.
Yeah,
It does make you wonder, just kind of like, why haven't we seen more like villains like this, like comic booky superhero-y villains, like get more love? But then you go back and watch The Dark Knight and you're like, oh, that's why.
yeah. I mean, can you name anybody from the
No.
the past 20 years who even came close?
No, not at all.
I also just realized there are 2 Batmen and 2 Jokers on this list, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you are correct on that one. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so you got Heath Ledger.
Yeah, so now you have your final 2 picks back to back. You have your driver and your hacker to still pick.
For my hacker, I want Troy Kotsur.
Ooh, sly. That's a sly pick. I like that.
I thought about that as well. Yeah.
I am one of the few people who really went to bat for Coda. I don't know why people didn't love that movie more. I don't know. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought he was amazing, and I can totally see him as this, quiet, deaf, expert hacker who can get the job done super quick and just has like no dialogue. Just gets the job done. You don't know anything by the end of the movie. You know just as much about him as you did when the movie started, which is dick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. Austin, you're
I don't know. Connor and I have talked about Coda.
Yeah,
it's fine. Yeah, it's heartwarming. It's nice, but I'm just like, I don't see myself ever being like, let me go back and watch that.
I'm waiting for Apple to release a goddamn Blu-ray so I can buy it.
Yeah.
We're going to keep waiting.
I know.
There's more and more of those are not getting physical releases. It's crazy.
Prey's finally getting one, which is great. The most recent Predator movie that's getting a physical release in October.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Okay, so my final pick, Alan Arkin's my driver.
Fuck.
But specifically, angry heroin addict teaching his granddaughter stripper moves. Alan Arkin from Little Miss Sunshine. He's my driver.
Damn it, dude. I was really thinking I could save him. Every night it's the fucking chicken. Good pick. Yeah, I want him as my hacker real bad. I thought you were going to go Kwan there. I thought you were going to take Ki-Hu Kwan, your boy.
I considered it, but I don't know. I think I haven't. I know this is terrible, but I haven't seen him in enough. I've seen him in The Goonies. I've seen him in Temple of Doom, and I've seen him in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I don't think we really know what kind of actor he is yet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear that, man.
And that's nobody's fault but Hollywood for cutting him out for 40 years.
That's not on him. I really wish with my last pick I could go ahead and take Robert Downey Jr. from Oppenheimer because he's going to win, but I can't do that. I think I'm gonna kind of do something a little ballsy here. I do think it's important when you're forming a team like this to find guys who can, especially with your hacker, who can kind of fade in and out of the movie, if you will, fade in and out of the story. And I think someone who's very good at that, and then coming with the fire, not so much in this movie. I like him in this movie, but I think I've seen him do way cooler stuff. That's Mark Rylance, Bridge of Spies, 2015. Underrated, just an underrated actor. I don't think it's, I think mostly Bridge of Spies is just kind of a forgettable movie. And he beat Bale, Big Short, Tom Hardy, The Revenant, Mark Ruffalo, Spotlight, and Sly Stallone for Creed. I would love for one of those other guys to win, but I do love Mark Rylance, and I think he'd be a good addition to this team. I got a bunch of egos on my team. I need one guy who can kind of step back a bit. So I'm going to go Mark Rylance as my hacker, and that leaves one less pick for Adam.
Okay. My crowd control, and I'm glad I stumbled upon this guy. I kind of was waiting for this spot last because I thought about Morgan Freeman. Nobody ended up taking him, right?
Nope.
I thought about that, but that's just like, man, it's a little too like I need a little more kind of like a little more intensity than kind of like the godlike Morgan Freeman. So I'm not really thinking about him from this movie in particular, but another one from around this time. Give me a Chris Cooper as my crowd control.
Love that pick.
Yes. So I'm more thinking of him as the Conklin character from the Bourne movies. That kind of like intensity, kind of like he gonna keep people in order, almost like a cop like, vibe to him. But yeah, I think that's gonna be needed probably as my crowd control. So yeah, so give me Chris Cooper to round out my team.
Yeah, Chris Cooper, legend. Yeah, he's great in adaptation, but I totally hear you as far as just kind of like what the inspiration for that pick comes from. Super underrated. I love this guy to death. He's also a good guy for you. You also have a lot of egos on your team. So I think Cooper is an ego, but he's kind of he's a
like a no nonsense,
no nonsense, and he can be streaky, like meaning he can come in and out. Like he can be 5 minutes in the movie and be like, that's the best guy on the screen right now, and then for 10 minutes you don't see him. He could be that kind of cat. So I like that pick a lot. Man, these teams are awesome.
Yeah.
We left out some great people, but this is the way the cookie crumbles. You're not going to pick everybody. Like you mentioned, Morgan Freeman still on the board. Jim Broadbent. That's the only movie none of us have seen. Tim Robbins left on the board.
Yep.
Not really surprised by that. Let's see. Let me jump far ahead. Christopher Plummer, rest in peace. He's just
too old.
He's just really old, and I don't know.
That's a great movie. I love that movie, but it's just
it is. It's, Jared Leto, Dallas Buyers Club. Now, obviously, in Dallas Buyers Club, like this is not the kind of person you want on your heist team, but Jared Leto, early 2010s, could do a lot of different stuff on a heist team. So I was a little surprised by that one. And Ke Huy Quan, not taken. So. I mean, yeah, not like super surprising, but also there's some bangers. You could create a team out of those guys. They're the leftovers.
Yeah, they're the rival team who are like, no one hired us, so we're gonna fucking steal it.
Yeah. No.
That's the fourth movie. So okay, last question. Connor, I'll let you go first.
Okay.
And you don't have to put a ton of logic into it. With these five guys in mind, this is a hard heist movie. Give me a city that it's in. And give me a director.
Okay, all right. Let's see. We're going to steal. We're going to rob the Louvre.
Oh, Benicio del Toro. Yeah.
And I would hire for director. I would give this to. Damn. Probably. You know what? Because of his track record, I'm going to give this to Steven Soderbergh.
Oh, what? That's what I was going to do. Dang it. Dang it.
He's like the king of the heist movie. Like, there's I know.
And I've got Clooney, so like, yeah, no, that was going to be, yeah. Well, I have Clooney and Pitt, but yeah. No, that's a good pick. Good pick.
The Louvre, Steven Soderbergh,
Specifically, we're taking like the Da Vinci's Venus of the Rocks or Madonna of the Rocks, whichever one that is. We're taking that painting.
Wow.
We're gonna make everybody think we're going after the Mona Lisa.
Okay. I can dig this. Starring Benicio del Toro, Sam Rockwell, J.K. Simmons, Alan Arkin, and Troy Kotzer. Wow.
Del Toro is the art historian who was recently fired, and this is his revenge.
J.K. Simmons was his roommate back in school, and this is great stuff. Okay, Adam, where are you going, and who's directing?
Yeah, the Soderbergh thing that hurt me. I don't want it to be quite as dark. There's a part of me that wants to be like, oh, Fincher, but it's like I do have Clooney as like the kind of like almost like wisecracking team leaders. Like I need that to be a slightly more comedic tone. I don't necessarily need it to be Fincher. So give me Paul Thomas Anderson. As my directing a heist movie starring these people: Clooney, Cooper, Bardem, Pitt, and Waltz. And let's put it in. Let's go to Madrid. Let's go to Madrid.
Okay, I can dig.
So that's I was thinking maybe like Berlin, or I immediately went to Europe, just like Connor did, before he even said um, Paris. But yeah, I thought about maybe Berlin, kind of get the Christoph Waltz shot up. But yeah, let's go Madrid, because there's a Madrid connection in a couple of these guys, different movies. So yeah, let's go. Paul Thomas Anderson set in Madrid.
Okay, I can dig that. I like that a lot. So
I think I would do more of a period piece. I might go back in time and maybe make it more of like a Franco, like something like that, like a Franco regime, like the kind of like Castilian versus like other Spanish, territories and regions like that. Maybe that's my like the route I'm gonna go.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
That sounds legit. So also one of the connections I do love from your team, and I mentioned the town a couple times, is Chris Cooper plays Steve McRae, Dougie's dad. So yeah, the scenes that he's in when he like goes to visit him in prison, you could totally see he used to be a crowd control guy.
Oh yeah,
you could totally see that. Good. Okay, so in Madrid, period piece.
Yeah,
written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who likes to do his period pieces.
Yep.
Starring George Clooney, Chris Cooper, Javier Bardem, Brad Pitt, and Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
You also what's great about that is you get some PTA newcomers. You get some new blood.
Yep.
Okay, I can dig that. I like that a lot. So for mine, obviously I've got Kaluuya. I've got some British guys. I got some Brits, and I want to be in London, of course. Or what I was thinking is a string of heists around England, altogether. London, Manchester, wherever. Kind of going all around the country. And I'll do kind of, I want to set it in like 1998, so it's not quite, the technology isn't insane, but it's also, there's still things that make it really difficult to get by, to do this stuff. But director, Soderbergh's a great pick. PTA definitely is going to make it a little more, it's going to get some slapstick stuff going on there, get some banter that's going to be a lot of fun between, especially I think for me, Pitt and Clooney. I think Pitt and Clooney are going to apply that same Soderbergh, stuff to PTA, and it'll be even more ridiculous. This is tough. I think what I'll do here is go with the guy that you guys were talking about last week, the director of Parasite. I'm gonna go Bong Joon-ho.
Whoa!
I want to see Bong Joon-ho. We've seen him work with a lot of American, or rather English-speaking actors. I want to see him go full tilt and use these super talented guys and make a movie that's in Western Europe. So we all went Western Europe for our setting. We stayed away from the States, which I love. We went Soderbergh, PTA, and Bong Joon-ho, guys who are still very, very, very talented and have been for a long time. So I like that. This is good stuff.
I was, when you said cast of Brits, London, I was sure you were going to go Guy Ritchie.
No, he's done it already. I want someone who's never done it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want someone who's I like PTA because I like that he hasn't really done anything like that. He's never really tackled that, but I could see him trying,
Kaluuya needs to be in a Guy Ritchie movie. That's like, he'd be so
that'd be sick. Yeah. I think you mentioned Fincher. I think Fincher could take all these casts and do wonderful work with all of them. Obviously Tarantino would be awesome for all these casts. I think you get the Coen, maybe this is the way to get the Coen brothers back together, working together again, doing a heist movie with especially Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Come on. They would love that. Good shit. So we got three movies on deck here that I would see all of them.
Oh, for sure, man. Buy advanced tickets for them. Yeah, put us in charge at one of these studios. Come on,
they could use some new blood right now.
Plan B. Give us some. Yeah, Brad Pitt, I picked you. Yeah, give us a chance.
I love going to Brad Pitt, assembling a meeting and using that as your bargaining chip. Hey, I picked you in my fantasy heist draft, so we're gonna do this.
On the world famous Filmgazm podcast. Yeah.
Did you listen to that Moonlight episode?
I don't know if you caught it or not, but yeah. The first half of it, we did a draft of best.
Okay, so real quick though. So the leftovers. Let's say the leftovers is directed by Tarantino. or I think Coens would be funnier. Let's bring the Coens back together. The leftovers would be. We'll start with 2000.
Broadbent, Plumber.
Okay, yeah, Broadbent, Freeman. That's 2.
Plumber, Leto, and yeah.
And Tim Robbins. So we actually have some extra blood. We have to cut somebody, or just give him 6. You know, I almost added a 6th spot for like the like Pete Postlewaite and the town, who's just like the guy who like really runs everything.
But I can
the real
see,
mastermind.
I can see Plumber doing that,
and Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
And
Jim Broadbent.
Yeah, Jim Broadbent. And honestly, I could kind of see Tim Robbins doing it. Fuck it.
All 3 of those older guys did do that. Like, you know, Broadbent did that in Hot Fuzz, Plumber did it in Inside Man, and Freeman did it in Wanted. So,
you know what would be the funniest one would be Ki Kwan running the show.
I can see him being kind of like, you know, putting on a face of like, I don't really know what I'm doing, folks, as team leader, but secretly being like, if they cross me, I'm going to kill them now.
Yeah, he just snaps. Yeah. And he's really pulling the strings. Yeah, great stuff. I would see The Leftovers directed by the Coen brothers. I would see that for sure. Good shit, guys. This is exactly how I wanted it to turn out. Lots of fun. You guys are always on board to just tackle random shit. So anything else you guys want to do before we move on?
Well, just so people know, like the only thing you told me was just look at the list of best supporting actors in the 2000s. I was like, okay, that's it. That's the only thing I knew. There was no like planning. There's no. So yes, people know that was pretty much off the cuff. That was
Same here. All he told me was assemble a list and tell me what you've seen and not seen, and that was
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Well, aren't you glad?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I was talking to both of you guys at one point, just kind of like, you know, Moonlight. I love it to death. I really do. I do think like we've had some serious episodes and we've had like some real reflecting. And we might do that here the second half of the episode. We might get some pretty serious thoughts out there. But I do think it was good to change pace.
Yeah.
Remind ourselves that this is all for fun. You know, this is all for fun. And I knew you guys immediately would respond to the heist thing, because who doesn't love a good heist movie? I've always played the game, pick a random year, and those 5 guys from that category from that year are in your heist movie, right? So I was like, let's just take that and expand on it. And you guys both fucking killed it. So I'm very, very grateful that you guys responded to it so quickly.
I want to do this again. Like, I want to go through the best actor, best actress, best supporting actors. Like, I love this. I want to do this again.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to figure out a pool. Like we were like picking dodgeball teams. You know, it's like some people are gonna get left, some people are gonna get picked last. But there's there's like a hierarchy to like how we're picking. So yeah, I love that. One more time, I'll run through them before we move on to Moonlight discussion. Connor's team, they're going to the Louvre. Written and directed by. We also picked all guys who can write and direct. I love that. Written and directed by Steven Soderbergh. He's got Benicio del Toro from the 2000 era as his team leader. Sam Rockwell, 2016-17 as crowd control. J.K. Simmons, 2014 as the safecracker. Alan Arkin, circa 2006 for his driver, and Troy Kotzer just a couple years ago for his hacker.
Man, that'd be a really cool movie.
Yes, it would. Yeah, I would watch the shit out of that. Adam's team, they're going to Madrid. They're going to Spain, and it's written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Franco's
team. Spain. Yeah, there you go. I love that, and the specific era is cool. Great for PTA. Your team leader is George Clooney, Syriana, early 2000s George Clooney. Also early 2000s Chris Cooper for crowd control. You got 2007 era Javier Bardem as your safecracker. You got just a few years ago old man Brad Pitt as your driver, and you got Christoph Waltz in the smack dab middle of his prime, 2009 as your hacker. So good shit. My team is going to the UK. Written and directed by Bong Joon-ho, Mahershala Ali, 2016 as the team leader. Daniel Kaluuya from just a couple years ago as the crowd control brute. Heath Ledger, rest in peace, from late 2000s as the safecracker. Christian Bale, 2010 as the driver, and Mark Rylance, 2015 as the hacker. Yeah, these are awesome teams. Can't wait to do something like this again when the opportunity arises. We will tackle it. But for now, I'd like to take a short break, and we'll move on to Moonlight. All right, so Moonlight. We'll go through some of this stuff pretty quickly and give it some awards. We're gonna do a draft for that as well. So double draft today for you listeners. You're welcome. But Moonlight, just some basic stuff. One of the coolest things is it's $4 million budget, made 65 mil. Incredible. Also, when it won Best Picture at the Oscars, it made an additional after it won it. I think that ceremony was in February of 2017. The famous Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway doing they're like La La Land won, and oh actually it's Moonlight. No, seriously, you guys won. That whole just debacle. After that, the weekends following, Moonlight made an additional $3 million. Wow, I mean, almost made their budget back because of winning Best Picture. So when people say the Oscars don't matter, I'm with you about 50%. There is something about it that matters. Like it made it. That's a lot of money, $3 million. So I always respond with that. Some of these movies that are underdogs. Moonlight's an underdog movie that won Best Pick. Pretty cool. Additionally, won 2 other Oscars. Of course, Mahershala Ali for Best Supporting Actor, which is kind of the inspiration for what we did. And that Best Picture category is pretty good. It's pretty solid. There's not like a lot of competition for me in particular, but it is a pretty solid year. Connor and I did a Oscar Sunday on it long time ago. We did Moonlight, of course, like Manchester by the Sea, La La Land, Lion, Hacksaw Ridge, Arrival. It's a good group, right? And we had a lot of fun. That was like 2.5 years ago. Pretty crazy. It was episode 35 of Oscar Sunday. It was in the early days. But I listened to some of it and I was like, you know what? A lot of my thoughts are the same. a lot of my thoughts, and I assume Connor, you're in the same boat with like the Best Picture category anyway.
Pretty much. If I can remember correctly, was my number one Hacksaw Ridge?
I didn't get to the actual countdown. I got like halfway through because we went through every category. That's what we used to do. So like we went like music, film editing, supporting actress, directing, all this different stuff. So we were really going for it. But Moonlight also won screenplay, which is really cool. That's also Terrell Alvin McCraney, who wrote the original story that this is kind of based off of. Moonlight, so good for them. Like him and Barry Jenkins and Connor and I saw that Oscar at the Academy Museum in Los Angeles. That exact statue is in the museum. It's history. It's 2 black dudes writing a movie about a gay black man growing up in Liberty City, Miami. So pretty cool. We saw some history. You also have Naomi Harris that was up for supporting actress, Barry Jenkins up for director, James Laxton for cinematography. A total of 8 nominations. Pretty solid. Did well, and of course, I think it's always going to be remembered for kind of taking down La La Land. That kind of the whole night we knew one of those 2 was going to win. Is it going to be the ode to old Hollywood, or is it going to be the new style? Here's like an indie filmmaker who's up and coming, writing a real story about real people dealing with real problems. And I'm glad that one won. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm glad that it took us this long to mention that thing, like the whole La La Land Moonlight thing, because it was so dominant, that whole the talk leading into that Academy Awards, and then the actual moment of it, kind of like the flip of that. So that honestly, it got like a little bit played out and kind of tired. So I'm really glad that we made it till hour, we're like second hour of this podcast to even like mention it. So that's great. But we needed to mention it. It's like that was pretty crazy. So so it definitely was something we needed to mention. But no, I'm glad it won as well. I actually like La La Land. I know there's like
it's good.
Yeah, there's some problems with it. But I actually do. It's an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I agree. Connor, where are you at in La La Land these days?
I think it's fine. I just want to point out that for a while that flub was the worst mistake in the history of the Oscars, and that changed a few years ago.
Yeah.
No one's talking about an envelope swap anymore.
Yeah.
No. And I get it.
Yeah. Way worse. way worse. La La Land is one I haven't revisited that much. I think it's fine. I'm not that into Hollywood stroking itself for 2 hours. I don't dig that much. I felt the same way about Babylon. It's like, do I need this? Like, I get it. Movies are cool. I'd like to see movies that aren't just about movies. So I got some mixed feelings on that.
I understand that, but you do like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
because that's a Tarantino movie first.
yeah.
You did not trap me. You did not trap me. That is
you trapped yourself.
That movie's it's less about Hollywood and more about, the Sharon Tate murder and the bygone era. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think Once Upon a Time is way better than La La Land. That's just me. That's just me. That's something that I like. But I do love Babylon. I like the underbelly of Hollywood, and I think Once Upon a Time and Babylon are both trying to show the nastiness.
That's very true.
You just reminded me that what's the Philip Baker Hall quote?
That's what I was going for. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I like butter in my ass. It's also like Denzel in Room of the Titans when he's like, I don't scratch my head unless it itches. I don't dance unless I hear music. that's just me.
Hey, remember the Titans is coming soon on a yet to be announced project from Filmgazm. That's
dear God.
That's coming soon. Nice. Coming soon.
That if I'm on that could turn into like a 4-hour. Yeah. Careful.
You pinpointed that, like, Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Babylon, they definitely deal with, like, the underbelly, the dark side of Hollywood. And I think La La Land's just too damn lily white. It's too damn like, hey, everybody's dreams are going to come true for the most part.
Literally lily white. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. And like, yeah. I mean, we don't like really need to go, but I do I get frustrated when like John Legend, who's like this musical genius, is the guy who's like ruining jazz in the movie. I'm like, what? Why choose him? Like, why did John Legend sign off on that?
I think it was like on a Between Two Ferns, where Zach Galifianakis told John Legend, like, has this movie made it, like, what's it like telling a story about like how black people took jazz from white people or something like that? It was so like, Jesus Christ.
Great. Yeah. It's got its charm, but yeah, it's just not like, I don't know. It's just it's fine. It's entertaining. That's quite all right.
Best Picture winner for like 1965.
Yeah.
My Fair Lady, correct? Yes, yeah. Just kind of like, yeah. All right, cool, fine. It's good, but I there's others that are better. Anyways, I love that. Of course, anytime the Oscars come up, it's like, well, we're going to talk a little bit about it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Moonlight, 7.4 on IMDb, a little lower than I expected. 98% Rotten Tomatoes, 4.2 on Letterboxd, and we will look at a Letterboxd review later after we do some Moonlight categories. You know what I think we should do is just swap the order of what we just did for the heist draft. So Adam will pick first.
Yep.
Then I'll go. Then Connor will go on the turn. Of course, we have best quote, best music moment, best performance, and this is all pretty much your favorite and favorite scene. So Adam, you can go wherever you want on the board. Take whatever you want. Go with that other category, and we'll just keep it moving.
Okay, well, I am happy to get the first pick because I want to make sure I for sure got this one. It's a music moment, and it's at the beginning of the third act, and it's when "Cell Therapy" by Goody Mob drops.
Yeah,
my favorite song.
You motherfucker.
That is one of my favorite songs of the 90s. And yeah, I almost like forgot it was in this. And I was watching it this time, I was like, oh yeah. And like the beat has that little piano, the little yeah, and I it's funny, like when we have open gyms and stuff like that at the school, like I'll let guys play music if it's whatever, like they'll just play whatever, and I'll play some stuff sometimes, and I'll usually go backwards because like they're always listening to kind of modern stuff, and I'll go backwards just to kind of be like, oh, I'm like the OG, like playing like old stuff. And I played this one time, and this kid was like shooting a free throw, and he just stops, he goes, what is this? I was like, it's called "Cell Therapy" by Goody Mob. He's like, I love this, and then like a week later he came back, he goes, I've listened to that song every day, I love that song. I was like, yeah, man, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that one for a music moment.
Yeah, this is one of the three that I wrote down. I knew if you had a chance you were gonna take it. Goody Mob. Not only is this song fucking sick and like a great one to like drive to in the movie, it's a great way to introduce Black. It's a great way to introduce the oldest version of Chiron. With the grills, with the do-rag, he puts his hand on the gun, just kind of like, oh, he's like hardened himself. He really, really wants to be Juan, the like guy that he looked up to when he was a kid. But he doesn't quite know how to do it because he lost him. And the coolest touch with having Goody Mob as the song and Cell Therapy as the song is that they're from Atlanta and he lives in Atlanta at this point in the movie. He's so sick. Yep. It's such a cool like little touch. And like one of my favorite things about Barry Jenkins is when he speaks, I think he gets misunderstood because he's not the typical, black director. The way he speaks, this is like a misconception a lot of people have, misunderstanding. But he like chose that song himself because he was like no, I lived in the 90s. Like I got down, like I'm not gonna put that throughout my entire movie, So the soundtrack for this movie has so much depth to it. There's so many different kinds of songs, different kinds of artists. Aretha Franklin, Boris Gardner, Goody Mob. Like what? It's insane. And on top of that, you have Nicholas Britell putting in a shift. Like it is great stuff. So I think the music category is the most loaded out of all of these.
I agree. That's why I'm glad I got first. But yeah, no, I would have been offended if it wasn't an Atlanta song. You know what I mean? Like that would have been
right. It has to be Outkast or Goody Mob. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah. It's a great bit. The shot of him in his car puts like his arm over the armrest and kind of like looks over.
Yeah.
Who's like Trevante Rhodes is like one of the most handsome, gorgeous men I've ever seen. And he like moves his hand to the gun. You're like, oh, he's a drug dealer. Like, all right. And that's the beauty of Barry Jenkins and beauty of this movie is we don't need to hear anything. We just watch. Like you said, it's very atmospheric. You talked about that earlier. So great pick. Man, how do you follow that up? I'm going to do something that might be a little unexpected, but as much as I love Mahershala Ali, as much as I think he's doing amazing stuff in this movie and why I kind of started that whole heist thing off of supporting actors, the winner of this movie to me is Naomi Harris. I remember Connor and I, we were doing research for this episode that we did on Moonlight 2.5 years ago. She did all of her work in this movie in 4 days.
Wow.
And like insane, the range she has to go through, the emotions she has to go through. And some of her scenes where she's going toe to toe with Mahershala Ali, like when she gets caught smoking on his block and she's like, do you see the way he walks? Like you wonder why they all kick his ass all the time, motherfucker. Like the way her tone is just like, oh Jesus. And then of course all the scenes where she's really high talking to Chiron, especially in the middle part of the movie, are just so heartbreaking. And then the end of the movie with Black in Atlanta at the kind of the home she's at, the kind of basically a rehab center. It is unbelievable. The way she shakes when she's trying to smoke the cigarette, all of it is like she to me is the standout performer of the movie. So I have to take her.
She is a scarier villain than like nearly every like Marvel movie I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like she is,
yeah.
Like she's a villain. She's a straight up villain. Like the stuff that she does towards her, like this child that she's supposed to love is like vile, it's like really gross and like sad. I mean, look, there's, you can make, there's reasons why, some of the stuff, addiction is got a hold of her, but that's still, there's no excuse to treat a child like that. I mean, it's like, it's vile. It is like, it is, man, it hit me harder this time for some reason. I was like, man, I forgot how like intense, like her stuff is, it's like, yeah, it's really bad. And she's incredible. Naomi Harris is phenomenal.
Yeah, but right from the get-go, like the way she comes out like the side of the apartment building when Juan takes him home that first day, and she's like, "Who is you?" You're like, "Oh, here we go." Like she just kind of like boom, like is like on the screen and like in your face. To me, like one of the most impactful scenes of the movie is when he goes home and the TV's gone. She sold the TV. We don't hear anything about that. There's no dialogue about it. It's just gone.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah.
It's like, well, that's like literally my only source of entertainment, being at this shitty place that I live at. There's just so many like little things that kind of like happen with Paula, with Naomi Harris's character, that they just keep stacking on top of each other to where like you need that closure at the end of the movie. You're like, as a viewer, and you can't imagine like what it's like to live with someone like that and have that as your mother. But you need it as an audience member. You're like, I need a conversation where they kind of like tell each other they love each other. You know, like fuck. Like, so
Yeah.
it's all because of her. You know, you have different actors playing Chiron and Kevin the whole movie. Naomi Harris is there the entire time.
Mhm.
So I got to take her, and you know, I love Mahershala Ali. I love Ashton Sanders. I love Andre Holland. You know, I love everyone in this movie, but Naomi's my gal. So, and I also love her in other shit. So I think she's great. Connor, you got 2 picks in a row.
Damn, I was planning on taking the Goody Mob song and Naomi Harris, so I'm kind of like floored now. Like, fuck, what do I do now? Fuck. Okay. I guess I will go with a scene.
Okay.
For me, it's the defining life moment of the movie, and it's pretty much framed as such. It's when Chiron fucks up Terrell with that chair and just makes the decision like, no one's putting me down again, and gets escorted out of the school by the cops. But I love the framing of that shot, just following him through the school,
dude,
right up to the classroom. He just goes in, takes off his backpack without hesitation, picks up that chair and fucks him up. And it's satisfying because that guy was such a prick, just an absolute piece of shit bastard. And yeah, like it's both it's him taking charge of his life, which is great, but it's also him forever pushing his life in the dark. And that is also, it's terrible, but it's like you have such mixed emotions in that scene. And this movie's all about mixed emotions.
Yeah. And you know, can you keep a secret? I know you can, you know. I like that like you said, the framing of that scene from when it all happens, like when he gets the shit kicked out of him, which is like is so sad.
For just
knocked down.
I mean, for just
just for the hell of it. Like
by the man he loves.
By the man that just touched him, like that just like had like a beautiful moment on the beach. My favorite part of that scene is like when is Ashton Sanders, like, good lord, like this is when I was like, man, this dude can fucking act. Is again, no talking, no dialogue, no nothing. It's just Barry Jenkins just honing in on the face when he puts his face in the ice at home and like the water fills up with the blood and he looks at the mirror and he's like, that's the moment he decides like, I'm gonna be hard, like I'm gonna like, and he says that later on in the diner with Kevin. He's like, I decided to build myself hard, like that's just the way it was, the way it is. And he's like, you know, and Kevin's like, that's not the way it is, you know. From that moment at like age 16, 17 years old, that's when he decides like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a gangster. Like I don't really know where else to run.
And he has that, like, you guys mentioned the way it's shot, like he's kind of going through the school. There's that bit where he walks past a security guard.
Yes.
Security guard kind of looks at him like
he's pushing those doors open every boom.
Yes.
It's a long walk.
It's the same security guard that helped him, right, the day before, or whatever that was.
The long dreads,
right. And you could tell he has this like almost like steely like resolve of like, it's like, oh, he's like on a mission here. Like he's headed for something. But he pretty calmly, like once he gets to that actual classroom, he kind of calmly, I'm like, yeah, like the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, he's definitely like angry, but like, is he gonna say something? Is he gonna like, what's he gonna do here? You know, the chair, it's just like, whoa, like that's just, that kind of came out of nowhere. But I remember the first time I saw it, I was just like kind of shocked that was like the tack he took. But no, it honestly makes sense. Like, you don't ever want to have like, excuses for violence, but it's like, man, that guy just like,
wouldn't stop. Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just evil, like just for nothing. I mean, it's a classic, like hurt people. So it's like I should be empathetic towards him, but it's like he makes it very hard to. That kid does a good job acting. I should get his name.
He's incredible in this movie.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'll try to keep vamping, but let me find it. I thought I had it up earlier, but
I looked it up too. I can't remember. Patrick Deseal. I think it's something like that. Patrick something.
Terrell. Yeah, Terrell, right? That's his name. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, God. I mean, the scene when they like stop him and his buddies stop him in the road and start talking about Gianelmo, and I'm like, how dare you?
I know.
He's going to Teresa's house. Yeah, like, oh no, don't bring up Teresa.
Don't you dare. Yeah. Sweet Teresa.
She's such an angel.
Yeah.
To quote another Best Picture winner, he had it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. That's damn right, Connor. And you also have another pick. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go ahead and take Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I think on the previous when we did this on Oscar Sunday, I think I went either Naomi Harris or Ashton Sanders. I'm pretty sure I went in one of those camps. But on this specific watch, there was something about Mahershala's presence that spoke to me more than it had in the past. I don't know what it was. Specifically the scene where Little is asking him if he sells drugs and if his mom does drugs, and he just the immense fucking guilt on Juan's face. It's so well done. It's a silent bit of performance, but like right there, I'm like, that's how he won the Oscar. Right there. That's the scene that got him the gold. And
I can't argue with that, man, at all. You know where my head's been at for the past 7 years now. It's been like the presence. That's the best word.
I feel like Frank watching Mac do the dance. Like I get it now. I get it.
Exactly right. Yeah, Ali is so good in this, and again, he's kind of what inspired the beginning heist draft that we did. So thank you, Mahershala Ali. Juan is great. Of course, you're in the middle of the world, and then explaining kind of like why the movie's called Moonlight is really that's a great scene too. So he's awesome. His batting percentage while he's on screen is through the roof. Even though he's not in it a ton. Okay, so now it's back to me. Man. Okay. Man, this is tough. I'll do best scene as well, or favorite scene as well. Connor with the throwing the chair scene. I have 3 written down.
Okay.
I wrote down the scene that Connor just mentioned at the dinner table.
I only have one. Dang it, and that's mine. Dang it.
Okay. I wrote that one. I wrote two others down. You can talk about that one later. I'm gonna go with the beach scene. I'm gonna go with the beach scene. This is Gerald Drum and Ashton Sanders, two of those dudes. These guys look out for them. They're gonna be around for a long time.
I forgot how good he was.
Yeah. They're like bisexual, like self-aware Kevin at age 16. He's so good. The middle part of the movie, because of him, is like goes to like another level, I think, because of those two guys. I'm obsessed with that scene, the beach scene when Chiron's going there to like escape, and he don't want to go home. He's like on the subway doing this and that, whatever, and ends up on the beach and just kind of sitting there looking at the ocean, and then Kevin, who walks up, it's Kevin with a blunt, and he's like immediately like has this like kind of annoying like kind of like swag about him. He's like, the one put you on this blunt, motherfucker. Like he's just, the way he talks is like, dude, shut up. But it's also like, I want to give you a hug.
Very Miami.
Yeah. He's just like this douchebag that you want to hang out with. I don't know how to explain it, but when they finally kind of like the tension starts kind of building and it gets deeper, and then he gives him a hand job, and it's like it's one of those scenes, especially when I saw this movie at age 21, it changed me. It was like, oh, like I don't know if I've quite ever watched a gay movie specifically, involving like representing, Black men. I don't think I've ever seen this before. I don't think I've ever seen something this like tender. Nicholas Patel, the kind of like swelling score behind them. Ashton Sanders' hand, the way it like grips the sand, because he's just like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening. Gerald Drum's ability to just kind of bring him in, the way his hand is on his neck, you're like, this is like a beautiful scene, and I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't seen much like it since, so I just think it's a standout, and I wanted to pick it because I really think it like was essential to my growth as a person, especially as a movie fan. Now 7 years ago. So I'll go with that for my favorite scene. Adam, you have 2 in a row.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I remember thinking like at some point, if like we ever had to describe this movie in one word, it would just be intimate, like,
Yep.
Yeah. It's like the shots are really close up. That's a Jenkins kind of, signature. Yeah.
Shots, like if Beale Street could talk, same shit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a very intimate movie in so many ways. Okay. So mine kind of go hand in hand. So perfect. I'll kind of go. So best scene and quote. I can say performance because you guys have both done that. So I'll do that for my last one.
Correct. Good call.
So I'll go with the scene, and it is the what is an F word scene at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, yeah, like first of all, that he feels like he can. I mean, at that point, how many times do you think he's been around these two? Two or three times. Like,
yeah.
And that he's like, I can't ask my mother this because she's a nightmare. Like, I have to ask these people who I don't even really know. This like incredibly deep question, and they answer. And honestly, the way they handle it, like the little looks they give each other, like their chemistry is awesome. Mahershala and Janelle Monáe. I don't know, man. That scene just like absolutely destroys you. I mean, it's just you feel for this like little kid. It's just like he's like, I don't understand. Like, why are they calling me this? And then just the fact that like that they took the time to like set a table for him. You know what I mean? Like he's probably not really like ever experienced that. Like, it's like that, like such a basic little thing. It's like, oh no, like you're gonna eat here. We're gonna set the table. We're gonna sit, the three of us, like no phones, nothing. Like, we're just gonna talk as like a family unit of some sort. He's like, he doesn't even know how to like handle it. It's like shocking to him. And then he feels like, oh, like now I can ask this question like to these people that I've like, I trust all of a sudden. You realize like how vulnerable like just kids are in general. Like, there's just times in life where you're just like, man, like kids are just so vulnerable. Like, it's like the people who take advantage of kids is just like shame, absolute shame on them. But that scene, and then within that scene is my best quotes, which is Juan, and he says, "At some point, you got to decide for yourself who you're going to be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you." And that is, to me, like the movie, right? It's like that. That is like the theme, is like trying to figure out exactly who you are. Who gets to decide that? Do you get to decide that? All of that stuff. And so they go hand in hand. But those would be my two picks.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. This is, Connor was speaking about earlier. This is when Mahershala Ali's like, hold my fucking beer.
Yeah.
Like I got you, and one of my favorite touches of that, because again, it's got some stuff that's like a, typical, like, well, here's like rough part of Miami, like drug dealing, whatever, this or that. And like, then Atlanta, like, and like, there's little touches of like showing that. And one of the little touches with Mahershala Ali, when Little walks in and he sits down, he's like, nuh-uh, like, you can't see who's coming after you. You can't see who's creeping on you. You got to sit here. Now you can see everything. It's like such like a little touch of like, this is who Juan is.
Yeah.
Because he's been hardened, and this is him doing his best to kind of father Little. And for what it's worth, I think he does a pretty good job, obviously we don't see how
it's better than the alternative.
Yeah, he stepped up, right? And Teresa, my God, like, he eats with Juan, and then Teresa makes him another plate, and he just keeps eating, and he's like, man, you can eat, like, that's for sure. Yeah. And Teresa's like, you don't gotta talk till you're good and ready, like, you eat as much as you need, like, obviously you've been like malnourished, so do what you gotta do. Here's the glass of orange juice that she pours. Man, that looks good. My God, the setup they have, the production design, all the little choices, and then again, like you said, the chemistry of Ali and Monet is off the charts. So it's just a fantastic scene. It's one of those, every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck, I'm like about to start weeping. So great pick. I like that, kind of like you just kind of tag team that little bit. So best quote and best scene is gone for Adam. Back to me, man. So Connor, you haven't done music. Yeah, I'll do music. I don't know where you're gonna go with it, Connor, but I'm gonna do. I got to talk about Nicholas Patel. The dude's incredible. Not only in this, but he's done a lot of other shit. I think the one that Adam and I definitely connect on is the Succession theme song.
Yeah,
it's so good. But this score, this is the first time I heard of him. First time I heard of Nicholas Patel was when he did this, and of course, If Beale Street Could Talk and Succession was right around there too. And he's done a bunch of other stuff since then. But when I heard this, I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like, who? And I looked him up, and he's just this nerdy looking white dude, like, but he's just able to conjure up these incredible sounds. And I'm gonna go with Chiron's theme, which is at the beginning of the movie. The kind of like the dun 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 dun. Almost sounds like a shark is coming, but then it kind of softens. And there's 3 different versions of it. There's the Chiron's theme, there's Little's theme, and there's Black's theme. But they're all the same like melody, but they've got like a little bit different tone to them depending on where we're at in the movie. And I think that's just like wonderful. So I got to go with like the main theme song by Nicholas Britell for my music moment. I love that guy to death. So got to go there. And Connor, I truly don't know where you're going to go. There's so many cool little needle drops.
I ultimately, what have I still? I have music and I have quote, right?
Yeah.
So music, I'm gonna go with some Bertel as well. The end credit suite.
Oh, dude, so good.
Yeah, just it is. I love that you compared it a little bit to Jaws. It's like there's a bit of like just ominous. There's a bit of what's the noun form of ominous? I don't know. It's ominous.
Good question.
I don't. I've never thought that question before, but now I'm like, that exists?
Omnipotent.
Well, it sounds ominous, and there's especially towards the end when him and Kevin are just kind of there, but you just get the feeling that like this isn't gonna last. This isn't in the long run. Is this gonna mean anything? Like you don't know. Like can Chiron even? Like is he past the saving point? You know, like can he still find his way back to who he was supposed to be? And the ending really kind of leaves it like I don't know. Nobody knows. Only he knows, and just kind of leaves you in suspense to a future that may or may not happen. And I thought that was quite brilliant.
Yeah, you're right. It is ambiguous more than I think we want to believe. Because you're like, oh, they're back. It's a love story. It's like, no, like they both have like real life shit to deal with. Like Kevin has a son, you know. Kevin is an ex-con. Currently Chiron is dealing drugs in Atlanta. That drive I think is almost 10 hours from Atlanta to Miami. It's like this isn't like a fucking, Cinderella story, this is like
did they confirm is he in Miami? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's Liberty City. Yeah.
Oh, that we know that for sure that he's in.
Yeah, there. They say that. He says that's where he lives at the beginning of the movie.
No. I'm saying at the end, the Andre Holland character. Do we know he's in Miami?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that it was originally shot in Miami. Yeah, okay. I didn't know if we ever like confirmed that or not because I was like I knew he's in Florida. I assume at some point, but like because he's on probation, so he can't leave the state. I'm sure, but like
yes.
Yeah, I was like maybe he's like in Jacksonville or something. Yeah, I don't know. I just like I didn't really know exactly.
Yeah, it's a great ending. I love when Kevin says, "Well, we here now, Chiron." It's like,
yeah,
it's so cool. I love when he's like, "It's a life, man." Like I relate to that for sure. Like obviously not to the same scale, but like when people just kind of like question or like question themselves, or kind of like, "How do you know if you're happy or whatever?" It's like, I don't know, but it's a life. Like I have a life. I have a kid. I have this job. I have this place I live. This is what I'm doing. I can't slow down. I can't stop and like look in the rearview mirror every fucking day. I have to keep moving forward. I love Kevin's attitude of like, this is what it is, baby. Like I love his like energy and his attitude while he's cooking for other people, while he's in the diner. I love the slowed down scene of him cooking the chef special for Chiron. It's like such like I love Kevin. Like Kevin rules. Especially Andre Holland, man. He's a great actor.
Yeah. So my quote is also from that. Actually, I don't remember where this was in, but I do like. I love this sentiment, like this expression of just like life itself. Kevin asks Chiron, "Who is you?" And Chiron responds, "I'm me, man. I ain't trying to be nothing else."
Yeah, it's at the diner. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I thought so, but I wasn't entirely sure. I love that. Like just taking the approach of like, it's like the Full Metal Jacket approach to life. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And I like that.
Yeah.
Like no one's going to tell me how to live my life. I'm the only one who could figure it out. And I don't know if I figured it out, but God knows I'm going to figure out how to figure it out. Like that's just life, figuring it out.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in it, and you just got to hope you're going in the right direction. And when you aren't, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and what's so devastating about this movie is the stuff that Chiron has to figure out is heavy as hell.
Yeah,
and it's like his identity. It's like that's what you have to figure out. And I've read that it's supposed to be because he says it says in like the summary on IMDb or whatever that it's 11 years after the chair incident is when they meet back up at the diner. So it's been age. They're supposed to be like 28 years old, somewhere around there. Trevante Rhodes, when they filmed the movie, was 25. Andre Holland was like 36. So I believe it. Whatever, yeah. But that moment is like, I mean, there's so much has happened to kind of what's the word? Like, there's been no progression for Chiron as far as like figuring out who he is. Like he's just like
Terrell
he's just a creature.
He stopped his evolution. He just, he wouldn't let him figure it out. He deciding to do that, to attack Terrell was the moment where he just stopped growing.
Yeah, that was it. So for like 10 years, 11 years, he's just becoming someone he's not supposed to be.
No, it's tragic. It's fucking tragic.
And so imagine Connor, you and I at our age right now, which is like what age they're supposed to be. You have literally no idea who you are. And you have to basically either continue doing that because that's how you make money, that's how you pay your rent, or you completely start over. like you just completely like break it all down and build yourself back up from whatever you can figure out. Like it's mind-blowing.
At the end of the day, at the very least, I know who I am.
Yeah.
And to not have that, I can't fathom that kind of just like how do you live without knowing who you are?
I think a lot of people do it,
I feel for those people. I really do.
Oh man, yeah. It's crazy. That's why I fucking love this movie. So your quote is the diner quote. Okay.
I ain't trying to be nothing else.
Yeah, I love that. I always save them. I write them all down so I can look back 10 years from now and be like, oh yeah, good shit. Oh yeah. Adam picked George Clooney and Brad Pitt for his heist, but also picked the Goody Mob cell therapy for.
That's the thing about that quote, though, is like he says that, and I think that is like maybe what he believes about himself, but that's not true, right? Like he actually is trying to be someone else. He's trying to be
Kevin. Yeah. He's trying to be one, and Kevin sees right through it.
Yeah.
As he does the whole movie, even when he's like, I got detention, bro. He's like, man, school's been out, and then he does the whole thing. He's like, nah, but don't tell anybody, man. I know you can keep a secret. Like the whole time, he's like, I see right through you. Like the whole movie, even when they're kids. Like running around, wrestling, playing the game, like tackle the what do you call that shit? Like man with the whoever has the ball, you like hit him or whatever.
Oh, I mean, do we want to call it the name that people?
No, but there was a different name for it. I can't remember.
Well, but I think to that point, that's why he chose that game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because of the name of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say it. It was called Smear the Queer back in the day. Yeah. That's what it was called.
I've heard of it.
It's fucked up. Like Adam and I partook in that game at some point.
We just didn't realize that was how offensive that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we just thought it was like tackle the guy with the ball or whatever.
Yeah. It's like literally just the name of it. Yeah. And then the more you think about it, oh man, that's like not a good name for that. It's like what is that even? What are you even talking about? Well, it's again perpetuating that like, oh, let's like get the weird one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they like keep kicking it towards him, and he's like he runs off. Yeah. Which is a great scene because also little Kevin just picks it up and runs with it.
I got it.
Little Kevin, he warms my heart. I love that kid. Everyone that plays Kevin, fucking great.
Yes.
Okay, so I got Adam. You got performance. I got quote. My quote. I'm gonna go with Paula towards the end of the movie at the kind of rehabilitation center. She says, "I messed up. I fucked it all the way up. I know that, but your heart ain't got to be as black as mine, baby. I love you, Chiron. I do. I love you. I mean, you ain't got to love me. Lord knows I did not have love for you when you needed it. I know that. So you ain't got to love me, but you got to know that I love you. You hear me? You hear me, Chiron?" And he's just weeping. Trevante Rhodes has just got tears like streaming down his face. And then she tries to light the cigarette and he has to help her because she's shaking. And I was like, "Oof, Naomi Harris, baby." Ladies and gentlemen, like that's if you're to have an Oscar moment, that's the one.
Yeah, and the cigarette thing is a big key too. I think a moment there too, because it's like I have to take this from you as well. Like yeah, like you can't handle even this as well. Like here we are still. Really sad. No, that quote. I mean, I as I was kind of searching through some stuff, I was like, yeah, that's a good one. Someone's gonna pick that one, I'm sure.
No. Yeah, Paula. Also, I love the like when they don't show it, like don't show or the dialogue's not audible when she's screaming, like the camera's like moving slow mo and she's in the hallway is like such a menacing like.
Yeah.
Oof, like Jesus Christ, just like you said, she's a villain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the juxtaposition of then having the conversation with Juan about, what's an F word. It's, implied that she just screamed that at her child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having a, like loving and hating somebody like at the same time, like family like that, to have a mother who is like that. Like you love them, but they're the worst thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, she's a monster. No, it's yeah.
I can't believe, I can't even like fathom that. I have my own screwed up relationship with some family members, but I've never once doubted that they really did love me. Like that's never been up for discussion. But in this case, it's like Jesus Christ, just absolute.
Yeah. Well, and even yeah. I mean, to like further that, and even if it's like, even if I question like whether or not they like have my best interest at heart all the time, they wouldn't actively be doing things like that. Detrimental. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
Yeah, like it's like no, she's like, I mean, yeah, he's like so lucky he made it out like not, just like a completely terrible person. Like it's and she didn't do anything. It was thankfully he had other people in his life that helped with that. But like no, I mean she's it's like a playbook on like how to like mess up your kid forever. Like it's horrible. I mean, it's like I don't know. I just like this time it hit me even harder. I was just like, oh my god. Maybe it's just because like the more I'm around kids, I'm just like, man, they can get so screwed up by just like the simplest thing. And this mom is doing the worst things over and over and over. Like it's like it's so sad. I just but Naomi is phenomenal. But so that leads into my last performance. You guys took kind of my top two, but I was fine with that. There's obviously so many good performances in this. So, I'm good with that. So I'm gonna go with Andre Holland.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, in everything I've seen him in, but this because he's got to come in off the back. I'm not sure how they shot this, like the order they shot this in, but I would, if they did it in any kind of order, he's got to kind of play off of how the middle one, I'm blanking on his name.
Gerald Jerome?
Yeah, Gerald Jerome plays it. And he not only does that, but he kind of like adds layers to it. Yep. Like they go hand in hand so well. Even better, dare I say, than the Chiron characters, who are all three excellent. But
I agree.
But I almost think there's like a more, and maybe this is the character is like it knows himself a little bit more than Chiron does, but like more of a kind of connection, despite them actually looking pretty like dissimilar to a degree. I don't know. I just thought the Andre Holland building on Gerald Jerome's character is like is the best performance for me. Knowing that I can't take Marshall or Naomi, and he does that great job of like the pauses when he needs to, but like I got to talk for him because he's not much of a talker. Like he really knows how to kind of manage that thing, and like he can tell this is still like a broken person that he's got to kind of like help out. And he has this very like nurturing like personality. He had it the whole time, right? Even as a little kid, like, oh, I'll take care of this guy. Like, no problem. Like, and it's not a big deal, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'll make you this food. Like, no problem. Like, I got you. Like, that's just his personality. And I think that all three of the actors embody that really well, but I think especially Andre Holland did.
Yeah, I totally agree there. We've mentioned him many times, but the youngest Kevin, it's Jaden Piner that plays like little Kev. And then Gerald Jerome and Andre Holland, like just incredible casting. And again, like you said, not like because they look alike, but because they all like have the cadence. They all know how to kind of like to layer it. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a great pick. I think Andre Holland is lights out. I love the way he says with the toothpick in his mouth. I love the way he says, "This is grandma rules. You ass eat, your ass speak." That's such a cool like touch. And his just kind of like Andre Holland, he's always been like this way to me. Just kind of like the way he moves, his mannerisms, like the way he picks up the glasses when he walks from one table to like the back, and he kind of looks back at Sharon like, "Yeah, you're looking at me, motherfucker." Like there's just something about him. Like he knows he like affects the room. Not just Andre Holland, but Kevin, the character of Kevin, like when he's in the room, it, and I love that about it. So great picks, guys. This is one of those movies where you just start kind of rolling it. To me, it's not really a movie that you can just kind of like, break into different scenes. It's just like moments and moments layered on top of each other that are all like just brilliant. I think the best way is, the way it does it, kind of like a triptych painting. It does the, part 1, part 2, part 3. Those are really how I kind of divide them. I don't divide them like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. they're just kind of piled onto each other. There's no real, you don't really get like a breath other than those little gaps between the parts. So I think we did a good job kind of figuring out what our favorite moments are, favorite performances, and what music affects us. So I'm very satisfied with everybody's picks. We kind of, I think, tackle all the best shit. Is there anything else you guys want to kind of give honorable mention?
I'm good. I think we covered pretty much everything. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered the entire movie. So that's the best way to do it, right? Great stuff, guys. Moonlight fucking rules. Now we'll try to get up out of here quick. I only have one review from Letterboxd, so let's go see what's in the box.
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
All right, let's see. I got one. I was speaking to Connor about this. So a lot of the negative reviews on Moonlight are very boring. They're not very funny. They're mostly people just being like, this movie isn't for me. It's boring. I don't like the pace. Like, fair enough, but there's no, with other movies we've done, there's been people who are like so angry it's funny. They're like, fuck this piece of shit. Like, who would like Wes Anderson? That guy sucks. But with the Moonlight, it's more like, I don't get it. Like, what do people see in this? But it's never really like funny. So I picked one that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about. There's a lot of reviews like this. This is a 2-star review from Mr. Blue Sky from about a year ago. Brokeback Mountain with black people. Just like Chiron didn't know who he was, this movie didn't know what it was. What was the point of this movie? Chiron was beset with all manner of demons, and this made for an interesting character. He was very troubled, but we never got to see, as moviegoers, him resolve anything. After an arduous life which included incarceration, we conclude with him resting his head on a man's shoulder who was the only man who ever touched his Johnson. And then the movie ends. What? End review.
Oh, I just pictured the dude being
what?
like, Johnson? Okay, who says that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I actually think that the length of the movie is one of its strengths. Like,
yeah.
If it were made by a different, more like indulgent, I think, filmmaker, it'd be like 3 hours, and it'd be like, all right, like the close-ups, like another hour of like these close-ups. You know what I mean? Like it's I actually think it's like really well paced and timed out.
I totally agree. And the first opening statement was like, okay, well, I'm not going to agree with this guy. Brokeback Mountain with gay people is like, what a generalization. Like
black people, not gay people.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Well, gay as well. Yeah,
yeah. I get confused because I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
like it's just like that's just such a generalization that like any movie that has like 2 gay guys is like compared to Brokeback Mountain, no matter what.
It's lazy. It's a lazy comparison. Yeah,
it's very lazy because it's also like, well, what about all the other gay movies from before 2005?
Right, Austin, you'll understand this analogy. It's when like players do like or when people do like NBA like draft like comparisons. And it's like a white guy. It's like, oh, he's a lot like Larry Bird, because he's white. It's just like,
it's like, come on, yeah. I mean, because he can kind of shoot and he's white. Yeah, come on.
Put no thought into that. Yeah,
Larry Bird's one of the greatest American athletes to ever live. Like, get out of here. It's whatever. It's frustrating. I don't really like the sentence. What was the point of this movie? Is like, I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's very like this movie knows exactly what it is, what story it's trying to tell, and if you just aren't paying attention, that's on you. Like not once because I lost and like trying to figure out what the hell this was. It's like from the second it starts, you're like you follow that pretty quickly.
And if you need a more like tied up in a bow ending, like okay, like I guess that's a comment you can make, but it's like how boring is that? It's like, oh, and now he's solved. It's like, no, this is a work in progress. Like this guy is going to be a work in progress because of what we just saw, the whole life, like leading up to it. Like this is not going to get solved in a night. This is going to take time. So
yeah, life doesn't work like that. Life's not that. You can't wrap things up in a bow like that. It's just people got to figure their shit out, and that takes time.
Yeah, it's not that binary. Just like changed, not changed. It's like it's just it's not that. Yeah, it's more complex than that.
Yep. Not for this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy wants tidiness as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that's this movie has a 4.2, pretty good, pretty good Letterboxd score. So it's mostly 4.5, 5-star reviews that people are just, this is beautiful. I love it. It's great. 5 stars. And then there's, your occasional 1.5, 2-star, and all of them are kind of like this. Or just like, what was the point? Just like, whatever. So I wanted to only pick one because I didn't want it to be redundant or anything. And, honestly, we've had a nice and long episode here, so we don't need to go too deep into that. But it's been a lot of fun, guys. Double draft episode is always special. Thanks for sticking with us, listeners. If you like what we do, feel free to follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Filmgazm. Go to Letterboxd, search Connor95. You can find Adam, myself, a bunch of the people on the Filmgazm team are on there through Connor's followers and following. Check out filmgazm.com for trailers, reviews, all kinds of jazz. If you'd like to become a monthly donor to Filmgazm Productions, feel free to click on the link in the episode description. From there, click on support this podcast. Any amount of donations will go right back into the show. We appreciate any things you guys can give. Thanks to the entire Filmgazm team for their contributions, especially Cooley Cal for the awesome intro music. And most of all, thank you guys for listening. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you very soon.